Hello, hello everyone. So thank you for coming today. So today we are doing a webinar on our admissions for the MSW program here at UCLA Luskin. So my name is Oliver Ike, and I'm the director of admissions here. So I will be your point of contact for the application process. So the format today, so we'll do a presentation about the program. We'll go through basically the admissions requirements, application requirements, the program, the curriculum, the finances, and we'll go through the kind of the table of contents here in a minute. We'll probably end around 12:30. We'll do about 15 minutes of Q&A. So any questions that you have regarding admissions, let's use that for from about 12:30 to 12:45, and then from 12:45 we have a current student. Her name is Jess Bendit. So she's going to log in around 12:45. So any questions that you have for the program for students specifically, she'll be here at 12:45 to answer those questions. So any questions related to admissions, let's try to do those while I'm here, because when she comes, I'm actually going to step away just so that you can have a very honest conversation about the program. So from about 12:45 to about 1, she'll be here for about 15 minutes to answer your questions. So we'll go through the presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to just enter them in the chat box, and I will go through and answer them as we go. All right, so let's go through the presentation here. Okay. All right. So I guess first of all, let's talk about. I always want to know like where our students are coming from. So who. Maybe who's from the furthest away? Is anyone from out of the country? All right. Hey, we have someone from Tel Aviv. Oh, that's awesome. All right. All right. Welcome. Anyone further from Tel Aviv here? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Great. All right. So we're gonna go through. So does everyone see? Hopefully, everyone can see the screen. Is everyone seeing the screen? Okay. So I have the slides up here. All right. So we're gonna go through the slides here and go through the program. All right. Okay. So the outline for the presentation today is just some general questions. We're gonna go through the different degrees. We'll go through the curriculum, field education, tuition and fees, fellowships, advanced standings, employment, and other resources. So yeah, so let's get going here. All right, so the first thing is many people have questions about social welfare versus social work. All right, so the first thing that we tell people is they're interchangeable, right? So MSW, Master of Social Work, Master of Social Welfare, it's the same degree. It's MSW degree. Some people call it social work, some people call it social welfare, but again, the curriculum is going to be the same. The degree is going to be interchangeable. Okay, so one of the I guess the benefits of our school is that we do have joint degree programs. So the good thing about a joint degree is it condenses your time for the 2 degrees by 1 year. So we have joint degrees with Asian American Studies, with School of Law, Public Health, and Public Policy. So you'll see in parentheses the years that you would have there. So if you did them separately, you would actually add 1 year in. So if you're even thinking about doing a joint degree, I definitely recommend just to apply for both programs, because it's actually going to improve your odds of admission, right? Because you're dealing with 2 pools instead of 1. And you can always decline if you decide, you just want to do 1 program. but yeah, so, and then sometimes students do one and then they come back and do the other. So you do, it takes longer if you do it that way. The good thing is, when you do a joint degree, you can actually choose which program to do first. So usually first year you're in one program, second year in the other, and then there's going to be like a mix for the remaining time. Okay, so our program is broken down into areas of concentration. So, so our first area of concentration, AOC, which is what we refer to them, is child and family well-being. So I've listed here just a couple of the different kinds of courses, like advanced practice. Some of the coursework you would be involved in would be in trauma, children, adolescents, and families. Some advanced policy is child welfare, public policy for children and youth. And some theories are child and adolescent psychopathology. So this is a very common path for many people. If you want to work with foster youth, for example, that would be encompassed in child and family well-being as well. Okay. Okay, and then second area of concentration is health and mental health across the lifespan. So here, advanced practice and policy is going to be mental health and health. Elective practice and cognitive behavioral therapy, substance abuse, gerontology, domestic and sexual violence. Elective policies are in LGBTQ health, law and public, firearms, psychotropic drugs, and medications. So all of these are kind of encompassed in health and mental health. So for people who want to go the clinical track, so many people choose this area of concentration who want to go into clinical work. So this is a sampling of some of the courses in this area of concentration. Okay. Our third area of concentration, so we have three areas of concentration, is social and economic justice. So we're in the School of Public Affairs. So we have social welfare, public policy, and urban planning. So the one connective thread for all of our programs is social justice. So social and economic justice is our third area of concentration. So these are for people who want to kind of influence. So we have policy, criminal justice, human service orgs, leadership, governance of nonprofit organizations, poverty and welfare reform, criminal justice and mass incarceration, international social work, juvenile justice. So these are people who want to kind of deal with some of the issues that are facing, that vulnerable populations are dealing with and facing. So corrections, reintegration, and things like that. So this is a sampling of the different courses that would be kind of specialized for you in your second year. You do have to choose an area of concentration during your first year. You don't have to choose it coming into the program though. So in your winter quarter, at the end of winter quarter, you'll choose an area of concentration. However, in terms of the coursework, you can still take some courses out of the other concentrations. So for example, like children and family, like child and family well-being and social and economic justice, sometimes there's a lot of overlap there in terms of just like the mindset of our students. So that's available. So there's some flexibility in regards to the coursework. All right. Okay, so the first year, so 2-year program, 2-year full-time program. So the first year core curriculum is comprised of coursework in, so you're going to be doing policy, social welfare, policy and leadership, theories of human behavior and social systems, some generalist practice, research and statistics, and your field practicum. So, we are a research institution, so we're an R1 research institution. So there's definitely a research component involved in the program. Your capstone project is also a research project. But you're going to be in the field a lot as well. So our goal is for you to be able to do some research, but actually take that into the real world and apply it. So we want you to be out there, helping the very people that you want to be helping. Okay, so this is the first year. So it's similar for everyone in the first year. And then your second year is where, it's going to change. So your second year, you participate in integrated research projects and field practicum. So the integrated research project is going to be, your capstone project. And then, like we talked about earlier, this is where you choose your area of concentration. Again, child and family well-being, health and mental health, and social and economic justice. So these are the three areas of concentration. Okay. All right. So field education. So when you're choosing a social welfare program, any social welfare program that's accredited under the CSWE, the counseling body for social work, the courses are going to be similar just because they have to be, since we're all under the same governing body. So your there's going to be a field education component at any accredited social welfare program. So this is the place where theory meets practice, where there's an emphasis on experiential learning, the place where students can enhance their awareness and understanding of diversity, an opportunity to develop one's professional self, where professional skills can be acquired through disciplined process of problem definition and the development of appropriate intervention strategies. So I think this is key here. So the place where theory meets practice, right? So in the classroom, you're gonna learn the skills to be an effective communicator, to deal with marginalized and vulnerable populations, and you're gonna be able to put what you learn in the classroom into practice at agencies that are doing this kind of work. So when we talk about one of them is, so we talk about kind of an understanding of diversity. So one thing that we do in our program that is a little bit unique depending on the program is once you're admitted into the program, we'll send out a survey. We'll ask you, what your experiences are, who you've had experience working with, and what your interests are, like who you want to work with. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that information and we're going to put you with people that you've never worked with before or you don't have experience with. And we believe that's going to give you the understanding of diversity. So you're going to be working with people that maybe you're not comfortable with or you've never worked with. And ultimately we think that's a benefit for our students. We always talk about as a social worker, you need to find comfort and discomfort. So just putting you a little bit outside of your comfort zone, we believe will be of benefit to you in the long term. That being said, in your second year, you would then choose your agency. Okay, so the first year we place you. Second year, once your area of concentration is set, you know which path you want to take, then you're going to work at an agency that's doing the exact work that you want to be doing. Okay, so that's our field education component. All right, so let's talk about the admissions criteria. So for admissions, it's all on the website as well, but we need official copy of your transcripts. If you fill out the application though, you could just upload your transcripts to the application for a review, but we will need your officials as well in order to be admitted. If you're an international student, we do need TOEFL or IELTS scores. Statement of purpose. 3 letters of recommendation, 2 academic, 1 professional. For the letters of recommendation, we urge you to try your best to get an academic letter or 2, if possible. If you cannot, though, that's okay. So reach out to professors. If they remember you, I don't know, depending on how long you've been out of school, if they remember you, you probably made an impact on them. So they'll probably write you a good, strong letter. So, trying to secure an academic letter, since we're an academic institution, but we understand that that's not always possible. So this is what we ask for, 2 if possible, but we understand if you can. Okay. So your resume. So yeah, don't worry too much about the exacts, but months and years in each position. Your personal statement. So and then again, upload all your documents on the Grad to Division application. So the biggest thing, so for the statement of purpose, just think about it's the why, right? So why UCLA, why Luskin, why social work? And then the personal statement is the who, right? We want to know who you are. Like, who are you? Where are you coming from? Tell us your story, okay? And so, the statement of purpose, we want to have a good idea to make sure that social work is the right path for you. Sometimes people describe something that we don't offer or we don't do, and it's not going to be a good experience for anyone. So, we want to know, what your purpose is. And for the statement of purpose and personal statement, another thing that we consider is we look at these essays to see how well you write. So we don't, so we want to know how well you write. So being a researcher, you're doing research, you're going to have to write effectively as well. So this is your opportunity to show us how well you write. So just keep that in mind, because there's really no other opportunity for us to see how well you write. Okay. Okay, we have a question here. For the resume section, do we need to provide an exact number of total hours worked, or can I provide a rough number? I would say just your best estimate. If you have the exact, that's fine. If you don't, just ballpark should be fine. Okay. Okay. So here is the tuition. So since we're a public school, it's going to vary, right? So you have your resident tuition versus your non-resident tuition. So California resident versus non-resident. So you'll see the breakdown here. So the biggest thing you'll see here, obviously, is the third line, the non-resident supplemental tuition. That accounts for the biggest discrepancy between the two types of two amounts for the tuition. And then you'll see the PDST kind of towards the bottom there, professional degree supplemental tuition. So what this is, it's a professional fee. So we're a professional program, and the way that works is you pay a flat fee for all your coursework. So you're not paying by unit like a lot of undergraduate schools. You pay by unit. So if you take less courses, it's cheaper. If you take more, it's more expensive. So that doesn't apply for our program as a professional program. And the professional fees is also, so a portion of that actually goes back to students in need. So some people who come in who have need-based, there's need-based scholarships available for people who express need, and some of this fee actually goes back to students. And in addition to we have a career services office. They're going to work on professional development with all of our students for the 2 years they're here. For the UC SHIP, the health insurance, if you have health insurance, you can opt out of this. You just need to double check with the student services office just to make sure that whatever plan you come in with, it just needs to meet some minimum requirements. But if you have good insurance, you can pretty much opt out of the UC SHIP. And then, your first year, if you are coming from a different state, you pay non-resident tuition. But during your first year, as long as you stay in California, and what they're looking for in terms of your residency, they're looking for your intent to basically settle down and stay in California. So if you change your car registration, change your driver's license to California, your second year, you'll qualify for the resident tuition. Okay, so if you don't live in California, but you want to stay down, settle in California, so you won't be paying the non-resident tuition for both years. Okay, all right, so there's a question about the dual degree. The tuition per year differs if one does a dual degree. So it does. So usually it goes by it usually goes by the program that's more expensive. So like the law school is way more than our program. So if you did a dual degree with law, you would pay for our fees in the 1 year you're with us, but for the rest of the program, you would pay law school fees. Law school and actually just law school is the only one that's like measurably more expensive than ours. Otherwise, it's going to be very similar to this. Any other any other joint degree is going to be pretty similar to this price. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So for fellowships, we have merit-based fellowships, and these provide stipends in varying amounts. It may include tuition and non-resident supplemental tuition. Awards are competitive and open to all graduate students. So when you're ready to apply, our university level fellowships they're actually pretty easy to apply for. They're all listed on the application. So you can go through them. It'll say who qualifies, what are the qualifications for it. And if you think you qualify for it, you just write, I qualify. Some of them will require a separate diversity statement, but you can apply for all of them through the application. So it's pretty simple for that. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much into this, but if you just type in UCLA Grapes, right here, GRAPES, there are some extramural fellowships that you can apply for. So we don't really administer those, so it's going to be like a listing. So you type in, incoming graduate student, and it'll kind of pop out the different fellowships that are available, and then you would just take it upon yourself to apply for them. Yeah, so they're provided by national, international, private foundations. Many of them accept up to a year before acceptance into a graduate program. So even before you're accepted into it, you can still apply. So there are a multitude of opportunities, and once you're in the program, there's fellowships that are going to be coming through, and we send those all to you as well. So during the program, there are more opportunities for funding when you're here. Okay, okay, we have a question. How often are the tuition fees charged? Were those previous slides numbers referring to the total fee, yearly fee, or semesterly fee? Okay, so you pay by quarter. So the last slide we looked at, so this is for the year 19 to 20. So 2019, 2020, this is what you would pay. So times 2, basically, give or take. So these may change, but this is per year, and you get charged just 3 quarters, fall, winter, spring. So you get charged each quarter. Okay, okay, another question here. If I'm a permanent resident of California, hold a CA license and an address, but stay abroad for a couple of months before the time of admission, would I still be qualified as a resident in terms of tuition fee? You should be. I mean, there's determinations. You have to talk to there's actually an office, like a residency office that you have to talk to. But as long as if you're a permanent resident of California, hold the license. I mean, I would talk to them actually in terms of permanent residents, because it could be a little bit different. So I would talk to them and just ask, and they should be able to make a determination. But usually, yeah, if you have physical presence, if you have license, all of your bills come to a California address, then usually that's enough. And if you leave for a couple months, during the program, that may impact whether you can get residency or not. So just keep that in mind. Once you're in the program as a non-resident, but you leave for a couple months, it's physical presence, so that may jeopardize it. Okay, another question. I attended an MSW info session at USC, and they drew a heavy distinction between MSW programs at a clinical base and those that are research base. They seem to imply that clinical programs better prepare students for real life practice. Does the concentration get you to the same end result? Do employers know if your program was theory based or clinical based when you're applying for jobs? Okay, so so the answer to that question is, I mean, we're pretty balanced in terms of research versus clinical. And the way that we look at that is, yes, you're going to be doing research here. We are a research institution. However, many people measure how clinical a program is by the BBS, which is going to measure like the pass rates for the LCSW. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, there's something called the Licensed Clinical Social Worker exam, and that's the clinical route. So if you go that route, so our first attempt pass rate on that test is 90%. So 9 out of 10 of our students who take that test pass on their first attempt. And that's, we're top 5 in the pass rate every year nationally. So I think that kind of validates our preparing you for clinical work. But as an R1 institution, we are, I would say, we do have a focus on research, but you are prepared definitely to go the clinical route if that's what you want to do. Okay, the fellowships, we'll go over this. So first year incoming students, there's something called the GOFP, and that's gonna give you a $20,000 stipend plus tuition. So it's about $37,000 total. Does not cover your PDST tuition, so just keep that in mind. And then departmental fellowship support, there's about $80,000 available in funds. So just make sure you apply. Like once you get in the program, a lot of people don't apply for some reason. So there's usually more money than we give out available. So if you're in need, just make sure you apply. There'll be a call for applications for fellowships when you're in the program. Yeah, so we'll let you know once these posts once they're ready to go. We'll do a call for applications. So all you have to do is apply once you're in the program. All right, don't worry too much about the names of these, but in your second year, there are various fellowships available as well, usually ranging from 5,000 and up. We do have a pretty invested group of donors, so there definitely is, again, funding available during your second year through various fellowship awards, and there are TA-ships and GSR, assistant research positions available as well. Okay, so we'll do very quickly, we'll go through some of our stipend programs. So if you're planning on being a specialization in children and families, there's a program called CalSWEC. So it's a 2-year stipend, you get $18,500 each year, and your payback is accomplished with a 2-year post-MSW employment. So you have to work here basically in LA County for 2 years. Okay, you're not actually paying back the money, but you're just agreeing that you're going to stay and work for 2 years after the MSW program, and you get your regular salary on top of that. Once you're admitted into the program, there's an interview process for this. So this is for CalSWEC. So this is for LA DCFS. So this is for LA. So this is similar 2-year post MSW employment. So this is for the county. So the other one was for the state of California. This one is for LA County. So it just kind of depends on where you want to be once you finish the program. But it's similar to the last one. And then the third one is for mental health. So if you go the mental health route, it's only for second-year students. It's a 1-year stipend for $18,500, and your second-year placement in a county public mental health agency. And then this is a 1-year payback. Okay, so you work at a county public mental health agency or community-based organization anywhere in California for 1 year. So similar. And then, yeah, there's a cap on this. So 9 students per year will receive this. For anyone with a BSW, a Bachelor of Social Work, Social Welfare, there is advanced standing in the program. The way this works, it will allow you to take alternate courses in lieu of the approved waived courses. So some of the core curriculum in the first year, you'll have already taken in your bachelor's degree for social work. So the advanced standing program is going to allow you to opt out of those and take other classes. So the timeline will be the same, the tuition will be the same, but you'll be able to take courses outside of the realm of the core curriculum. All right, so this is the employment data here. So 98% employed within 12 months of graduation. I think we're probably closer to 100% here. 67% found employment through a connection built at Luskin. So we have a good alumni network. You can tap into the resources in public policy and urban planning as well. And again, we talked earlier about this, the clinical exam for the LCSW, 90% first attempt pass rate. So I think we're ranked 1, 2, or 3 on that every year. Okay, so here's some kind of to kind of recap. So it's a 2-year full-time program. Classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then your internship, your field practicum are Mondays for 8 hours. Wednesdays, 8 hours. And on Friday, in your second year, it's a half day. So you're in the field, half day for 4 hours. Your first year, there's modules and seminars on Fridays. And then, yes, all modules are required for field education completion. Okay, so here are some resources for admissions criteria, scholarships and fellowships, extramural funding, stipends. If anyone wants the slides, just send me an email. I'll show you my email here in a minute. If you want a copy of the slides, I'm actually recording this as well. So, and it's being streamed to our Facebook. So I'll post a video of this later. But if you want the slides, just email me and let me know. I can send them to you. Okay, here's a question. I understand that one course requirement for MSW is a grade of B or better in statistics. I received a B minus my freshman year of undergrad. Does the same rule apply to individuals who received a percentage of a B minus, whose transcripts show a B because they still doesn't count minus or pluses? So I mean, the B in stats is a hard requirement. So I mean, we basically what we do is we leave it up to the applicant to make sure that they meet all of the requirements. So if you don't, I mean, if you feel strongly about the grade you got and your skills, and you can't, you don't have time, or what have you to retake the course, you can still apply with a B minus. However, it's going to be noted. Like if there's anything that you're missing in your application, our review committee will note that. So if you're really strong otherwise, that may be enough for admission. But you know, if you want to kind of, you know, cross all your T's and dot all your I's, then you may want to consider retaking the course and you can do it at a local community college or through university extension. Okay, so another question. So clarify, if you pursue a policy-based concentration, will students still be prepared for clinical licensure? So there's advanced clinical courses available for you. So if you want to go that route, those classes will be available for you, but they're really more specialized for people who want to go on to become clinically licensed. So depending on, I mean, in terms of policy-based concentration, it's going to be children and families, health and mental health, or social and economic justice. So there's going to be policy practice in every concentration, but if you want to go the clinical route in your second year, there's going to be advanced clinical work for you to take in terms, and that will depend on which route you want to go. How do we know which stats class at a community college is equivalent to the stats class that is required? If it's in California, you can send it to me, the name of the course, the name, the number and the name of the course, and I can check. If it's out of state, basically it just needs to be elementary statistics or above. So we're looking more for so different concepts. So looking for probability, regression, like cost benefit analysis. So and those are usually encompassed under elementary statistics. So I would just look for those concepts just to make sure those are covered. And if they are, then you should be fine as long as it's through an accredited institution. Okay, let me just, okay. Okay, there's a couple other questions. We'll get to those in a second. So just to remind you, if anyone's in or around LA, we do have a diversity fair that we do every year at the school. It's on November 23rd, which is a Saturday. It's an all-day event. You don't have to come for the whole thing, but you're gonna have a chance to hear from the department chairs. We'll have a panel with current students. We'll have an alumni panel. We'll have a statement of purpose. We'll have a workshop. So if you don't have a statement of purpose, we'll give a workshop on how to write an effective one. If you do have a statement of purpose, you can bring it, and we'll have some current students that will actually provide feedback. So we'll do a peer review session for statement of purposes, which is very helpful. So if you can make it to this, you just have to RSVP online. It's on our website. It's on Eventbrite. You can just do a search there as well. Okay, and this is what I talked about earlier. So this is my email. So this is me. So if you have any questions, if you want the slides, just shoot me an email, and I can send you the slides. If you have any questions, let me know. and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so let's go into questions. All right. Okay, so question is, does field placement need to be in LA? I'll be commuting from another county. Okay, yes. So what we know understand that there are commuters. So just tell us where you live, and we're going to try to place you in an agency within 20 minutes of where you are. Okay, so we understand that some people will be commuting, so we try to be flexible. We try to accommodate that so that you'll have to come obviously to campus for classes, but we'll try to work with you on the field placement. Okay, I have an advanced degree in a field related to statistics, and I've taken other grad level statistics. Am I eligible to pass out of stats research methods classes? I mean, we don't really have a way to kind of waive out of those classes. There may be an opportunity depending on, you may be able to petition to take a more advanced stats class. That would be, I think, the one of the options that you may have. I don't think you'd be able to waive out of it, but unless you're coming with like a BSW, but that might be an option. So that might be something that we can discuss. Okay. Question: is there a comprehensive list of clinical courses offered for second years? So I believe we have a handbook on our website, a student handbook. I believe all the courses are listed there. So if you're unable to find the list of clinical sources, if you just go to our website and go to MSW students, there's something called MSW Student Handbook. I believe all the courses are listed there. If you can't find it, send me an email and I'll try to dig it up for you. Okay, I transferred my junior year from a college I attended, freshman and sophomore year. Should I just submit my transcript from both schools or just the 60 credits for my junior and senior year? So yeah, I would send, it just kind of depends. I mean, we are going to be looking at for your conferral date, like we want to see the degree, the courses you took in your upper division. I would say that we definitely want your undergraduate transcripts from where you finished the program at. But if there's coursework from your junior college or from your community college that you feel are relevant, then I would send those in too, because we're going to look at the coursework in addition to your grades, in addition to all the other materials. So, so for the when you're doing the calculator, you don't need to go back into your community college or junior college. Just use your upper division, junior, senior. But if you want to send in transcripts for any courses you think would be relevant, you could definitely do that. If I haven't taken statistics, can I take it before the program starts? Yes. So when you're entering in your coursework on the application, you can just write in progress for the stats requirement. You just need to take it by spring quarter. So just make sure you take it by spring quarter, and then once your grade posts, just send me the transcript. But just make sure that you write it in progress so we know that you're doing it. Okay, I have a JD and I practiced law for 16 years. I'm looking to change careers. Do you have advice for applicants like me who have been out of school for quite some time? Well, I mean, this is pretty common, I would say. So I think social work is very much a calling, and it just calls people at different times in life. So sometimes you have to go through certain experiences for that calling to come. So, we have people who are coming straight out of undergrad every year. We have people who've been in the workforce for decades, and they're not fulfilled in their work. So, in terms of advice, I mean, obviously you have a lot of great experience in regards to the work you've been doing. So, I think your statement of purpose is going to be very important here. Explaining to our committee why this move, why social, after you've been working in a different field for so many years, like why the move, why now, what do you want to do, who do you want to impact? But I tell all applicants to really highlight, what makes you special, what makes you different. It's not just about like what UCLA can give to you. It's also about, what you're going to bring to the cohort. So we try to make our cohort as diverse as possible, and that just makes it a better experience for everyone. If everyone has the same background, same academics, that's of no benefit in regards to world experience. So we want to get people from different walks of life to really bring their own experiences to the cohort. Okay, next question. I transferred from a community college to university, and my university transcript shows grades and classes that I took in community college. Do I still need to get a separate transcript? So I think I answered that. So anything before your undergrad, if it has relevant coursework, feel free to submit that. Otherwise, you don't have to. For the requirements for admission, what are examples of courses that qualify for social behavioral requirements and the humanities? So I mean, so basically I would say that if you're in fields of like sociology, political science, econ majors, psychology, anthropology, basically the courses that you would take in those majors are going to satisfy pretty much all of these requirements. The only ones that there are question marks are for human development. So for human development, you're looking for development, like biological development over the lifespan. So it could be child and adult relationships. It could be, sometimes there's ones in like linguistics, like how the evolution of people and language. It could be developmental psychology. So sometimes the development course is a course you might have to seek out, and the stats course. Sometimes people don't have that. But if you're in any one of those disciplines, you should automatically satisfy those requirements. Okay, so if you're missing one or two of the 4 courses in social behavioral sciences, you cannot enroll before submitting an application. Is there a way to know that you're willing to take them? I would say that's a little bit difficult because you need to complete all the requirements by spring quarter. And you're not going to really hear a decision until like February. So that would be pretty hard, I would say, to do these courses by then. So, I mean, if you're able to, I would try to enroll in any missing courses by spring quarter, and then on the application, just list it in progress, and then just send us the grades when you're done, when you finish the course. Can the stats requirement be met by the end of spring quarters? Can the course be taken the summer before the? So spring is the deadline for all courses. Unfortunately, summer is a little bit too late because the grades take a while to post. So, and then you actually get placed at your field agency during summer. So social welfare certs will start a little bit earlier than other programs. So you do need to complete everything by spring quarter. Okay, if I'm due to graduate in summer 2020, not spring, and I would like to start fall 2020, can I still apply and have transcripts sent once my degree is conferred? Not spring. Yeah, no, that's fine. So if you're still working on your undergraduate degree in terms of your conferral, and it bleeds into summer, that's okay. But if you are scheduled to finish and to confer in spring, then everything will need to be finished by then. Would theater classes be counted as fine arts? Yes. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Other questions? Okay, well, I believe our current student should be, oh, there she is. All right. Hey, Jess, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sounds loud and clear. All right. So everybody, this is Jess Bendit. She is a first year MSW student, but she's a concurrent public policy social welfare degree student. So she's wonderful. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna step away until about 1 o'clock. So about 15 minutes, pick her brain, get all the information you need from her. I'll come back at 1 p.m. just so you'll have a chance to try to get as much honest information as possible. But yeah, so Jess, take it away.
Awesome. Oliver, have you been should people speak their questions, or are they going to chat them in? Or
Well, let's see. I think I can, let me see if I can just unmute everyone.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone's unmuted. I don't know if this is gonna get messy, but if
We'll
everyone,
do it. We'll try.
all right, all right, yeah, and feel free to turn. You can turn your camera back on if you like.
I
Oh
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still apply. They said like it still prepares you for like licensure and everything, but like I'm still looking at like the other schools because I think they might be a better fit for like actually getting more hands on.
Who's talking right now? Is someone talking? Okay. I want to answer some questions. I'll tell you a little bit about me first. Chat in if you can't hear anything. I have the AC running because it's 92 degrees today, which it shouldn't be, but that's Los Angeles. My name is Jess. Like Oliver said, I'm a dual degree MPP, MSW. I did my undergrad at Brown University on the East Coast, and I grew up in New York. I, after college, moved to the Bay Area and worked there for 6 years in nonprofit management, pretty much, homeless services, anti-poverty, philanthropy, some criminal justice reform work, and decided that it was time for me to go back to grad school. I actually applied first to the MPP program, did a year of MPP, and then realized that there was something fundamental missing about my experience that had to do with understanding who the people were who would be impacted by the policies that we were talking about and crafting. And so I applied to the MSW program late in March. And the deadline is like December or something. And I tell you that because one of the big like takeaways of my time in grad school in general and at UCLA is that like if you fight for something and you really want it, you can make it happen here. And so Oliver was actually hugely helpful in helping me get past some of those late deadlines that I'd missed. And I got to start my MSW program this fall. I'll do a full year of MSW. I'll do an internship in the summer, my second internship in the summer, field placement, and then finish up with mostly policy and finishing my elective classes. Also, you may have heard that the next Democratic presidential debate is going to be here at UCLA Luskin, which is something I feel really proud of today. And I've had a pretty good experience going to this school so far, but it's definitely not a perfect school. And I would love to hear what you are thinking or any questions that anyone has. Feel free to either chime in or put it into the group chat. I'm watching. One other thing that I'll say is that here on campus, I do try to be involved with as much social justice and racial justice work as I can. I'm in a public policy student group around that. There's an institute on campus called the Institute of Inequality and Democracy that I'm a student board member for, and generally like trying to be as tuned in as possible to events on campus that go on around criminal justice reform specifically, poverty alleviation and social justice and racial justice in general. Some of my interest areas. How's housing? Any housing tips? I have a couple of friends who have done on-campus housing. I know it's a little bit of a lottery system, but the UC does have some of that available. Most of the people I know live off campus. They find rooms and roommates through Facebook pages pretty much. It seems daunting, but everyone's in the same situation, or a lot of people are in the same situation. So I know they make it work. LA is fucking expensive. Sorry, excuse my language. And that's obviously a huge challenge of being a grad student here. Great question, I'll answer that in a sec. I know that the student council of UCLA graduate students has student housing and student homelessness as one of their major initiatives for this year. So it's something that's being talked about on campus, and also a lot of people will be in the same position and trying to make that work. Okay, tell us what you find to be imperfect about the school. In addition, can you speak a little bit about the Institute for Inequality and Democracy? Okay, I'll do the second one first. The Institute for Inequality and Democracy is a research center that was founded by this incredible professor named Ananya Roy. She's actually in the urban planning department. They have 4 key goals around criminal justice reform and ending mass incarceration, debt alleviation, homelessness, and decolonizing the university. So it's one of the more radical spaces on campus, and I love getting to go to their events and learning about the people who are involved there. It's really, really cool. What's imperfect about the school? I mean, there's so many people here, so I feel a little bit awkward being completely direct with you, but that's also kind of my only style. I mean, UCLA is a historically white institution that is like pretty well regarded in California and not always welcoming to as many kinds of students as I think we'd like it to be. And a big part of my work as a graduate student revolves around like pushing the institution to like, give more student funding, to admit more different kinds of students, to think about racial justice and social justice goals in hiring faculty and in admissions and in how they give out funding and in what kinds of speakers and programs they invite onto campus. And they're pretty receptive for the most part, but you know, certainly the public policy has a long, department has a long way to go there as well. I'm happy to talk more about that. There's so many things that, I mean, it's imperfect in that way, but I do appreciate that that people listen and want to be having those conversations here. I have a lot of previous related experience. Do we think that's a factor when applications are considered? I don't. I have a lot of classmates who have 1 year or no years of outside experience, and I've learned a lot from them as well. I'm glad that I worked first. It helped me sort of target my studies here. I didn't really know what I wanted to do also, so I'm glad I like had that extra time, and now I feel a little more focused, but I like am totally blown away also by my classmates who are 1 or 2 years out of college and are such, you know, they're going for it and they're really amazing. As far as applications and admissions, yeah, I don't know how they do that. I feel like if you're on this call and you have you've taken the time to be like serious and thoughtful about your application process, you're probably a good candidate. So like I would, you know, recognize your value and know that the university probably wants to have you here as well. Are students coming straight in? I hope none of these answers are glib also. If you want to like push me more, I'm happy to like explain more of what I'm thinking about. Just want to get to all the questions that folks have in our time. Are students coming straight in from a bachelor's degree or people who have worked for a couple years? Yeah, like I said, it's a mix. I have friends with like all different kinds of experience. I have friends who got their bachelor's degree when they were 25 and now are in grad school. Like you can, I think one of my favorite parts about choosing UCLA is that it's given me the chance to meet people who are different from me. I took a very like, you know, I went to college right after I like finished high school. I worked professionally for a while in the field that I'm sort of interested in, and now I'm in my master's degree. And that is one story that people have sometimes, but I know people who did all kinds of things, worked in the service industry, bartended, organized, did academic work, did finance, like all different kinds of work, and now we're here. And I think that that's a huge benefit, honestly, of the school, is getting to meet and learn from people who have different life experiences. These are great questions. What do you think are the strengths of UCLA's MSW program? Like I said, I'm an East Coaster by birth. California is my adopted home, but I didn't know much about the UC system, to be honest with you. One of the strengths of UCLA's MSW program is that UCLA is the top ranked public university in the country. And so there's there's a certain amount of cachet with attending this program. And that's important to me, to be honest with you, if I'm going to spend my time and money at an institution. And then I also think that the faculty are really invested. There's a lot of like, the curriculum is pretty strong, and then the faculty also take time to like create a community environment and also teach skills outside of the classroom. We have modules where we go to Skid Row, we learn about public benefits, enrollment and application, like all different kinds of like major pressing issues that like could be covered in a lot more detail, but that at least the school wants us to walk out of here with that. It's also, yeah, it's a major research institution that also recently started an undergrad program. And I was talking to a friend of mine who works in academia at a different school, a different UC, and I was like, how should I understand what it means for Luskin to also be starting this undergraduate program? Are they taking resources away from us? And he's pointed out that starting an undergrad program means that Luskin is well regarded by the university, and that the university wants to pour more resources into here. So it's a pretty exciting time to be a Luskin student. mostly because I think there's a lot of attention and support for the work that happens here. I think those are a couple of strengths. Also, like, yeah, I've experienced a lot of support in the form of my classmates, my field liaison, the faculty. Yeah, it's like, it's not a huge program, and so you get like the attention that you need. Do you know how the mix of students is regarding working part-time, full-time outside of school? How feasible is it to juggle work in a full-time program? I don't know. You're considering part-time programs at other schools. At my field placement right now, this year, I'm working, I was assigned to work in aging services with older adults, which is not what I want to do at all. You heard from my little spiel, so just expect that no matter what program you go to, that you probably won't end up with a first-year internship that exactly matches your interests. But it's been a chance to meet folks at other MSW programs. And so I have a friend, I know a couple people who are doing part-time programs. UCLA Luskin is really a full-time program. I think certainly working full-time would be very challenging, just because of the schedule of this. I mean, like the bare bones of the program pretty much have you occupied Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 3. So it'd be working around that. I think part-time work is possible. And I know a lot of classmates who especially like if you need help, you tell the department and like they can help you to some extent. They can like help you apply for TA positions, for GSR, graduate student researcher positions, and so I know a lot of people who are sort of working for the university. I don't know a ton of people who hold down full-time or even like large part-time jobs. But I'm sure there are. People are incredible. But it might be tough. Happy to talk more about that, or even help you if you want to email me. Here, I'll put my email address into the chat, and I can try and connect you with someone who is in that situation. What do you value about your work experience skills prior to going back to school? How did it help you narrow down your calling? Oh my God, excuse me, sorry. I'm gonna turn 30 in next month. And so like this idea of having a calling feels very prescient to me, and I don't actually think I found it, but I feel a little more comfortable with not having one, if that makes sense. I think the most valuable thing for me about working before coming back to school was understanding professionalism, which was a skill that I didn't realize like one has to learn. You don't just like show up fully formed and ready to be in a professional environment. So like having worked in several offices and have different managers, it was easier to adapt in some ways to the grad school environment, and specifically to having an internship here as well. And also gave me the chance to try stuff and realize like, oh, it won't work for me to be in a full-time research position and sitting in a desk alone all day. I have to have a team with me. I have to be working on group like projects, and I like want to feel that success that comes from accomplishing something together. So I think just like knowing like the environments that I'm comfortable in and that I don't like, and that is just from like going through it and having shitty experiences, to be honest with you. And then also like noticing the interest areas that I kept gravitating towards. I think out of college, I sort of knew some things, but felt very open to the world, which was a great place to be. And now that I'm a little older, I maybe wish I was more of a polymath, but the truth is there's only a couple of things that I care enough about to keep doing and pursuing. And I've like noticed those themes coming up again and again in my life in terms of where I work, how I volunteer, what kinds of articles I read, like who I retweet, like stuff like that. That helps me, there's going to be a huge array of opportunities available for you in graduate school. That having, like knowing a little bit about what grounds me and what motivates me and what I want to achieve, or the little bit of impact I hope to have in the world, helps me select those without having as much agony about like, should I apply for this international policy program? Like, no, that's not, you don't have time for that. So that was helpful. When you are in the field for field work, what do you mean by it? What sorts of jobs do you do? Great question. So you have to do 2 field work placements for social work school. The first one they assign for you, and the second you find for yourself. Field work can look like a lot of different things, but most people, I'd say it's some kind of like client work / case management. Some people, but I know people who are doing policy work and fundraising and like all kinds of other things, but I think most people some kind of consistent interaction with clients, either in a group setting, one-on-one, maybe learning some mental health skills, that kind of thing. So me right now, I'm, like I said, working in aging services, doing case management, doing home visits, and trying to help connect folks with resources, and also helping them develop some self-efficacy tools. And it's really cool because the curriculum blends with this more experiential field-based work in a way that I've noticed feels really satisfying and good for me personally, and helping me develop more into the person that I want to become. It's 1 o'clock. I have time for another question, but I also know you've been on this call for is an hour and a half or something. So, please don't feel the need to be here for me. Oliver, are you back?
I'm back, yes.
Oh, back. Great.
Jess, would you mind just putting your email in there, just so if people have questions, they can email you?
Already took care of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You're better. I know. I apologize.
No. Just wouldn't expect you to underestimate me like that.
Okay. No. I see it there. Okay.
I can head out. Thanks, everybody. Please do email me anything that I don't personally have experience with. I'm happy to find someone else in the cohort. We are constantly in touch over Facebook and chat and whatever. So would love to help connect you to more resources and talk to you if there's anything else you want to know about your time here.
All right. Thank you so much, Jess. Have a good weekend. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, everyone. So yeah, email me if you have any questions. Otherwise, we have our diversity fair on Saturday, November 23rd. You can RSVP for that. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.